Hello and welcome to this short yoga video, yoga for runners or yoga post-workout. A really nice way to stretch out the body after a run perhaps, typically stretching out the tight parts, the hamstrings, the calves, the muscles that we really work when we're running, and also these forgotten muscles, the glutes. I also like to point out how important it is that not just through running and yoga is enough. You need to also be doing a lot of strengthening of these muscle groups. So these muscle groups that you're working a lot through running, which sometimes actually are underworked, you need to work them a lot, are your glutes as well. So when you're preparing for a run, then it's really good if you can to start to work and do some warm-ups like squats and stuff, so you really fire up those muscles. And then you can run safely, and then you can finish it off with some yoga so that you can really have a really great practice working out safely and without injury. So I'd like to point that out. Make sure those parts of the body you're really strengthening as well, combining it with strength training, and then you can do your yoga to stretch out. So let's start at the top end of the mat. I've got a couple of blocks here, so you could have a couple of blocks to hand. We'll start at the top of the mat and we'll bring the feet roughly about hip distance apart, a little softness in the knees, maybe a little wiggle, check in, notice how you're feeling. If you have literally joined me today straight from a run, just take a moment to just observe in the body where you do feel that tightness right now. Maybe it's not going to arise straight away, sometimes it's even the next day you feel it. So allowing that to be, that's sometimes a nice sign that you've worked hard, but you do need to really nurture the body and give it a good stretch out. So we'll spread through the toes. We'll try and find a central point in the body where we're balanced through both feet. We're not rolling too much into the toes, not leaning too far back, but then start to engage through those glutes, the fronts of the quads, the core muscles, and then just aligning the head above the heart, allowing that lengthening all the way up through to the sky, and open your fingertips wide into Tadasana pose. I'm letting my eyes close here. Feel free to do the same if you wish, to just start to arrive. Allowing yourself to focus on a few deep breaths. Maybe you notice the sound of that breath, the quality of that breath. Can you slow it down? Good. Spread down through the toes, lift up through the heart, and let's inhale. Rise up, stretch up to the sky, and look up to your fingertips. High salute, good. And then as you exhale, we're going to fold all the way down to the ground. And maybe you feel it there in the legs already. And if you do, or even if you don't, you're here with me today. So let's just start to walk out those heels. Roll over the toes. So not to forget about our feet as well, that do so much work for us, pounding on those pavements if you're running a lot. Spread out the toes. A nice thing to do is also a bit of massage, a foot massage, maybe with a tennis ball, or even through some of our massage videos there with Hannah. So you're going to spread through the toes. You're going to take a little sort of squat here in a bouncy squat, but keeping the knees tracking back and forth. Couple of those, breathing in and breathing out. Good. Breathing in and breathing out. Nice. And then from there, bring the right foot to the center and stack the left foot over the right. So I'll show you from the front, stacking that left foot over the right. This may be where you need your blocks if it's hard to touch the ground. We can inhale, slide the fingertips up through the front shin. And then as you exhale, fold. Let the chin drop to the chest and hold for a few deep breaths. Maybe you already feel that quite strongly, maybe down the IT band, all the way down the side of that right leg there. Ground down through the toes. Take deep breaths and direct the breath into the back body as well. And exhale to fold. Let's come up like a rag doll, so take it really slow. Hug the belly button in and rise up nice and slow. Head last to come up. Great. Stretch out through the feet, the toes, back into our standing hip distance apart. We inhale, rise up, stretch up, look up, and then exhale, fold again down to the ground. Wiggle out through the heels, wiggle out through the hips, bending those knees. Let's take 2 of those bouncy squats as we inhale and exhale. We inhale and we exhale. Great. And then take your time to bring left foot to the center of the mat and stepping the right foot over. So we're doing the opposite foot now. Right foot steps over. Again, you might want your blocks here. We inhale, rise up, lift the heart, the chest. And then exhale, take your fold. Let the chin drop to the chest. And breathe nice and fully. Spread through the tips of the toes. Directing that breath into the back of your body. And just really check in, like notice when stretching after a run, it can really feel really quite tight, and just see if you can through the weeks, just really acknowledge what is discomfort and what is pain. So often we can really breathe and work through those areas of discomfort if you direct your breath to that area, but pain really isn't something we want to work through. So if it is really quite painful, then do ease off, come out, and just try it slightly differently. Maybe you change the position of your feet. It's just totally up to you how you try and get the best out of this and in the most comfortable way. When you're ready, we're going to roll up nice and slow. Head last to come up. And then relax, release out the feet. Stretching out the toes, wiggle everything out. Great. Let's start to move again a little bit more. So as we started, we inhale, rise up, stretch up nice and tall. And then exhale, fold. Wiggle out those hips and heels. And then we're going to step our right leg back and bring the knee to the ground. Relax the back foot. Inhale, rise up to your low crescent lunge. Good. And then I want you to check in here. This is really key, especially for targeting the right muscle groups. Think about lengthening the tailbone down, so that immediately you should feel right on that left front of the hip flexor, that you're stretching it. So rather than just hanging out here and getting this lovely shape of a back bend, you're not in theory really getting that nice stretch into that leg. So lengthen the tailbone down, hugging at the ribs so you're not over flaring up, and hold for a moment. Maybe even you hold onto the ribs to encourage them to stay contained, but lots of breath flowing. And exhale. I'm going to take left hand to left hip and inhale, reach that right hand high. As you exhale, twist over the body there. So maybe you start to feel the stretch a little bit more into that front of the right hip flexor there. And allow the gaze to turn to the ground. Let's take one more deep breath in. And out. Really nice. Windmill that right palm to the ground. And then we're just going to take the weight now. So left hand can come down. The weight of the hips back and forth. So this particularly, known as the half splits pose, is usually quite a tight one post-run. So take it steady, take it slow. Maybe you don't come to completely straighten this leg, that's fine. There may just be a micro bend there the whole time. So there's no sort of burning sensation around the back of the knee. So take it nice and slow. Breathe in, breathe out, breathe in, breathe out. Let's start to add on a little here. I'm going to grab my blocks now. So this is really nice to just give you a little bit of an aid. I'm going to tuck the back toes, lift the back knee, and just try and square the hips up just a tad. So check in here, maybe use your fingertip on your left hip to roll that left hip back, to square the hips forwards. Check in that you're not locking out this front knee. You want to actively really engage that big quadricep muscle. Press down through the left big toe joint. And then if you can, again, try and get those hips square. Your hands maybe a little higher if need be to bring the floor towards you. And this pyramid pose, we're going to inhale, rise up with the chest, lengthen the heart. Keep the tailbone nice and long, back and behind. Hold here as you breathe. Maybe again, you need to hug in at the ribs a little bit. And then we're going to exhale, see if you can fold. Again, you might have that little bend in that front knee, that's fine. And let's hold here. Breathe in, breathe out. Check in with the knees. Can you see as you look down or gaze back that they're nice and aligned with your toes? Maybe again, like I said, there's a little bend here just to ease off any pain sensation at the back of the knees. Let's take 2 more breaths, nice and slow. Breathe in and breathe out. Breathe in and breathe out. Well done. Let's start to lower that back knee to the ground. Remove your bricks and coming into all fours. We're going to take a downward dog here so we can just ease into the back to those legs. Take it nice and steady. Can you notice any difference from one side to the next? Spread through those fingertips. Take out the head. Walk out your heels. If there's one thing that you do post a workout, post run, then maybe you can make it your downward dog. Think about how this entire body is really getting lots of length and opening. It's wonderful. So maybe it can be the one thing you do if there's only time for one thing. When you're ready, relax through the throat, the jaw, and start to gaze forwards, tiptoe to the top of your mat. Soften your knees. Take a few of those little bendy squat things to just, again, find some tracking through the knees. And we'll open the hands out like wings. Press through the feet as you rise up now. Hands to the heart and breathe out. Good. Let's take a breath in. Reach up nice and tall. Stretch up. And then exhale, fold nice and slow. Wiggle out your hips. Wiggle out those knees and ankles and up through the spine. And then we're going to step our left leg back. Drop the back knee, relax the foot, and inhale, come up to that low crescent lunge again. You can take your hands a little wider if it's particularly tight in the upper back, especially if you do weights and things. Maybe there's some tightness up there. So encourage some of this external rotation. Sometimes what can help is doing this cactus shape arms. So really encourage those shoulders to externally rotate and create some space in the chest. But we're really focusing on this hip flexor here. So again, like I said, on the other side, let's encourage the tailbone down. Front of that left hip flexor stretching now. Take a breath in. Take a breath out. Maybe the hands stay where they are up, or maybe again you take the hands to the ribs. Try and contain the ribs so you're not flaring up. Take a breath in and out. Good. Taking right hand to right hip, inhale left hand to the sky. And then as you exhale, taking that gentle side stretch, but at the same time twisting over the body there. So my gaze turns to my right. Still keeping tailbone down so I can feel the front of the left hip there, and taking that back shoulder down. Breathe in and breathe out. Breathe in and breathe out. Good. Let's windmill left hand to the ground. Take a hold of our blocks. And we're just going to take that movement back and forth. If you ever find you need padding underneath, then you can take a little blanket and pad out the knee a little bit. Or whilst you're just here and moving, you could roll over the edge of your mat for a bit of extra padding. And as before, maybe you don't fully straighten that front leg. If there's any uncomfortable sensations around the knee. So nice and slow, breathing in. Breathing out, we can start to add on. I'm going to bring my weight forwards a little, tuck the back toes, lift the back knee and tiptoe it in a tad to come into our pyramid pose. And again, we can shuffle back and forth to just find a comfortable spot on the feet. Take your left fingertip and roll that left hip crease back. So a little bit of self-adjustment there, and lengthen the back of the tailbone away. Check in that you've not locked out this right knee. So again, we want to really actively engage the big quadricep muscle. We then want to press down through the right big toe And then try and hug that left hip forwards a little bit more. So you should feel quite a long stretch through that left leg now, the back of the left leg. If need be, as before, bend the knees if it's too intense for you. So it's actually called intense side stretch. So it will feel quite intense at times. And then we can start to lift the chest, our pyramid pose, take a breath in. And then take a breath out, fold. Good. So we can hold here for a moment. Keep trying to encourage this alignment of the hips, squaring at the hips. Strong through the legs. So they are working here. We're not just sinking and collapsing into the joints. Actively encouraging quadricep muscle to work. Pressing down through that right big toe. Breathing lots of space into the chest so you don't, although we're folding here, we don't want to collapse. We want space to breathe. For one more breath in. And exhale. Nice and slow. We can lift the gaze, bend the front knee, drop the back leg, bring the back knee down. Again, you can lose your blocks here, and let's take ourselves back into our downward facing dog. Nice, and ease out through those legs. Take a deep breath in and out. And I'm going to get you to roll over your right toe. So roll over the tip toes, and as if you were doing a ballerina point, roll over the toes and hover your right knee off the floor. And then we exhale, reverse that movement, press back. Let's do that to the left. So it's a really nice way to stretch through the front of the foot. We often really forget about the feet. Give them a bit of attention. Let's do that a few more times to each side. Roll over. Press back. If this is too much in the upper back and the shoulders, then you could try and do this just bringing one knee to the ground. But try and encourage a real stretch through that front of the foot there. Good, and roll back. Let's do that one more time. Rolling over. Hover the shoulders over the wrists and then press back. Well done. Give those feet and hips a little bit of a wiggle. We're going to take the hips nice and wide now. The hips are coming out, feet coming out as wide as the mat. And then we're going to walk our hands to the back end of our mat, coming into a yogi squat. Feel free to roll the back of the mat up if you need a little bit of support under the heels. So if you're quite lifted on the heels, you could bring props under the heels there. Otherwise, we're just going to wiggle the hips from side to side, roll across the ball of the foot, nice and steady from side to side there. Good. And how does it feel? How does it feel in the body? Good. From there, we're going to rise up, so you can rise up through the hips, forward fold, and then hug the chin into the chest. Roll your spine up, stack your spine up bone by bone. So think about all this space that you create into your back as you come up like this, nice and steady, nice and slow, and the head is last to come up. Give everything a bit of a roll out, the shoulders, good, and breathe, nice. I'm going to come back to the center of my mat and I'm going to take my feet nice and wide. So really wide stance. Toes slightly pointing out. Good. And then start to let your hips drop back and behind as you bend the knees, almost as if you were sliding your weight down a wall there. Spread through the toes, lengthen through the tailbone and the back. And we're just going to shimmy that weight side to side there. Already I can feel it a little bit into my shin from my run yesterday. So it feels nice to target that area. Good. I'm going to sink down a bit lower now as we come into this goddess squat and we open the hands nice and wide. Take a breath in. And then as we exhale, hinge back at the hips. So I've still got my knees deeply bent and I'm running my hands down the fronts of my shins. My elbows are pressed onto the instep there of my shins. I'm going to inhale a breath, hug the chin to chest and round the upper back. And then exhale. See if you can lower a bit more and press the heart forwards. 2 more. Inhale. Press the seat back, heart forwards, exhale. Maybe you feel it into the groin a little. Inhale, one more breath. And exhale. Nice. Let's glide the hands up to the inside of the quad there and also just above the knee as we take a breath in and lightly twist. Exhale. Straighten out the opposite arm that you twist away from, and then inhale to center. That feels nice as you exhale, twist to really get through your spine. Let's take one more to each side. Inhale and exhale. Last one, breathe in to center and then exhale to twist. Good. We're going to slowly make our way to center. Send the seat bones back and behind and lower the hands to the ground. Again, this may be where you have your block to hand beneath your fingertips. Just let your weight shift back and forth a little bit here. So you may find you're collapsing in the heels. Try not to sink back too far. Press through the tips of the toes a little bit here. And then we can soften the knees. Just again, making sure that you're not locking out the knee joints and rounding at your back. It's important that you have probably a little bit more bend in the knees and a straighter back. Let's take a breath in. Lift the heart, lift the chest, seat bones back. And then exhale, fold. Really hinging from your hip crease and taking that bend right into the knees if need be. Breathe in for 2. Breathe out. Breathing in for 1 more breath. And exhale, nice. Let the head wriggle and release. Let the weight of the head lower down or use the support of your blocks if need be here. Give everything a bit of a wiggle and a shake. And then we're going to heel toe those feet a little bit closer together and come back into our yogi squat. Nice. Take the hands this time into a prayer pose, hands together. Let the tailbone root down. The spine is nice and long here. Let the weight of the spine draw down. Crown of the head lifted. Maybe the eyes shut for 2 breaths. We inhale. Soften the jaw. We exhale. Again, we inhale. And exhale. Good moment to feel a bit of gratitude for what your body can do. Your body allowing you to move and breathe and taking those runs, those moments of getting the endorphins flowing. Thankful for that our bodies can do that. Good. So nice and slow, releasing out of your squat. Maybe you walk your hands behind and you come to lower your seat. We're going to take it nice and slow to lower to our mat. So hug the chin down, round through the spine and come to lie onto your mat. Give your knees a big hug, squeeze those knees in and rock on your back nice and slow. Another one, if you don't have much time, to come and just give yourself a big hug and a squeeze and rock on your back. So you get this lovely massage across the back of your body. Good, and one of my firm favourites, again, so there's a few here actually. If you are short on time, you've got your downward dog, rocking on your back, and then this lovely twist, a great one post run if you're short on time. You're going to hug your right knee to your chest and extend that left leg away. And really squeeze the knee in, almost get a little sense of a massage right at the navel there and the digestive system. Take a deep breath in. And out. Good. So from there, we're going to take our right hand, it's the same hand as the bent knee, reach it away to the floor in one line with your shoulder. Take a deep breath in. And then as we exhale, we're going to take the knee across the body and open the chest. Oh, if you're lucky, you get a little click there and a creak, which feels great. So here you may find that there's an urgency to get that knee to the floor, but then this right shoulder lifts up. So try to, if you can, encourage the right shoulder down, and maybe the knees off the floor, that's fine. You could place a block under that knee if you want a little bit more of a connection and support there. And just focus on it for a moment here. You have got this lovely stretch across the pecs, the pectoris major muscle, and then all the way through the lats, the side of the back, and then you've got your glutes, those large, strong muscles getting a stretch as you cross that knee over the body. Now this may be enough, or you might feel like you want to go a little further, and you could hug the knee up, take your peace fingers and wrap them around that right toe, big toe, and stretch the leg away. So you've got this lovely straight leg twist, and then we'll all together now take our gaze to the right. Let's hold for 2 more breaths. So inhale, fill up the lungs, and exhale. Again, breathe in, softening the gaze, and exhale. Good, if you've got the bind of the foot there, just bend the knee and then engage the core to give you bits of some stability to return to center. Arriving back, hugging both knees to the chest and rock on your back. Take a deep breath in and out. Lovely. Let's keep left knee to chest, extend right leg away. Squeeze that knee in, soften the shoulders, keep reaching the right leg away. We'll take left hand to the ground in line with the shoulder. Take a breath in. And this time exhale, the left knee twists across the body. Again, try now to encourage left shoulder down. Maybe a block under that right knee if need be. Just feel that lovely opening across the pecs, down through the lats, and then a big stretch into the glutes. And if you're not feeling it quite enough there, again, as I said, take the peace fingers now on your right hand, take the left big toe, and maybe you stretch that leg out fully. Good, taking the gaze to your left. Let's now take 2 more breaths here. We inhale, fill up the body with the breath. And exhale. Settle the shoulders down, breathing in. Soften the gaze, let your cheek rest a little closer to the floor, breathing out. Good, and then if you've got the bind there, just hug that knee back towards your right side. Engage the core as you then lift the knee to the center as you inhale. And then exhale, take both knees to your chest. Give your back a nice massage, rocking from side to side. Well done. Now, if you have the luxury of some more time, please feel free to now just take a few long, deep breaths lying in Shavasana or taking a seated meditation, whatever it is you have time for. Just taking a few moments. And thank you for joining me. I hope this was useful. Come back to it whenever you can. Use it maybe any time of the day. But just taking this moment now to say thank you to you, thank you to your bodies for making it here. Namaste.